Alright guys, now why don't you take a look at this. I'm currently here over at JK18's place, as you probably recognize the scenery. And take a look at this bad boy here. It is a Kenmore model, probably made by Whirlpool, dehumidifier from the late, probably I'm gonna say very late 80s, early 90s. And one thing that's very significant about this dehumidifier is this is the exact make of the one we had in our basement before we had it finished in 2000. And I just can't believe, like, I have one in front of me right now. Jay had found, I think he said it came from his dad, if I'm not mistaken. And he said he had it. He notified me that he was able to get it or whatever I'm trying to say there. And he also said I should come by and see it. And then I happened to see it yesterday. And as soon as the garage door opened, I was like, oh my god, that's the exact one that we used to have in our basement. I'm just totally shocked. And we're gonna check out to see if it still works. It hasn't run for a while, but as you know, vintage stuff was built to last, so we could have some good luck there. Hopefully, we'll find out. You can see the cabinet's like a little. It has its like used look on it, if you want to say that. What we can also do is we can also and the knob for the humidistat is missing, but I'm sure that can be found somewhere. But so what we'll do is we'll take a couple of the covers off, show you around inside, and we shall go from there. As you can see here, guys, I've taken the, I know there's always debate about whether it's the front or the back, but I'm going to say this is the front cover, and this is the back one right here. And I forgot to tell you something. There's this little air freshener here on the back panel that I noticed, and I honestly don't remember if ours that was in our basement had this. I mean, this is a pretty much identical panel, but this air freshener, I don't know if we had that or not. And you apparently fill it by putting something in here, and they probably don't even sell them anymore. So, but I mean that's pretty interesting to know. You can see the little light for the pan full light, and I did test it. It works fine. The humidistat's right here. Let's take a look inside of this thing. You got a nice reciprocating compressor here. The installation's kind of tough now and probably deteriorating from over the years, but that's normal. You have your I guess you want to how do you say it? You have your line coming out of the compressor here, which is really hot. You have the one coming from the evaporator here, which is pretty cold. It has a 6-bladed fan. The only difference between ours and this one is we had a 5-bladed white plastic fan, and this one's a 6-bladed in black. So that's the only difference I could spot here. It does spin down kind of fast, but it turns very freely. Like I'm getting very little resistance from this, and I think even the wind's pushing it a little bit. So maybe it'll run okay, and it'd be great if it does. Now, there's one thing I want to show you guys over here on the front, where the pan is. And we'll take the pan out. Why not? You can see this is where the water goes. You have 2 switches here. This one is to indicate that the pan is in place, and this bottom one here is it gets pushed in when it gets full, and that activates the pan full light. And you know what? Let me see if I can actually show that to you quickly. Hopefully the camera's facing that. I don't know if it is or not, but there you go. And here's some other thing I want to show you. This is the evaporator coil right here, okay? This is the part that gets cold and, all the humidity condenses on it. And, I mean, take a look at this thing. This thing has been around for, like I said, since the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know the exact year, but look, there is no rust on here whatsoever. I mean, look at it. It is completely rust-free. Nothing. You just don't see that on today's stuff. And, where am I going with that? And it's just like, these fins here, they're very stiff, like very strong. Like you can't really move them or bend them like you see on today's units. This is quality stuff right here, man. It's just absolutely amazing as to how things really were back then. And I'll give you a little info on the sticker here. You can see it's, there's the model number, serial number. It apparently takes R22, that's interesting. So I wonder if it's like sort of on the maybe newer side, but I'm not sure if that depends on what year it was or anything. Motor and compressor thermally protected, it says. 115 volts, 5.7 amps. So, pretty cool stuff. So, I'm going to take a further look through this again, and maybe soon in a video we'll we'll test it, and hopefully we'll see if it runs. So we shall see it from there. All right, and here it is, all taken apart, and I mean, just look at this thing compared to like modern units. I mean, the only downside, of course, is, you know, the weather stripping here to absorb vibrations has like kind of deteriorated away. Here's the inside of the cabinet, but I mean, that's normal. That happens after many years. But look at this thing compared to like modern units. It is just, it's so simple inside. Here's your evaporator, here's your condenser, here's a run capacitor, your compressor again, the little control panel right here. There's the fan again. Give it a little spin. You can see it spins down kind of fast, but as I said, it does spin freely, so it should be okay. And it is a little dirty. Maybe some compressed air at some point could help, but this is just, look at this. It is so simple. I mean, it just, how they made stuff, and there's cardboard here too, it looks like. Just how they made stuff back then, it's just, it really amazes me. And take a look at this right here by the condenser on this side. You have a little wiring diagram, it looks like. That's pretty interesting. Maybe I'll take that out and just set it aside and put it someplace where the wind won't blow it away. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put the pan in place, plug it in, and we are going to see if it runs. So we shall see you from there. Alright guys, well here we go. We have the pan in place. I heard the switch click, so it has detected that it's in. And Jay has said that this hasn't run for about 10 years, at least. So we are going to see how this will perform. Let's face the fan and give this a try. Fan doesn't spin that fast, and not hearing anything from the compressor. Alright, well, the fan's picking up speed. That's good, but yeah, the compressor doesn't sound like much is happening from it. It's probably, you know, hasn't run. It's trying to start, it sounds like, but then it cuts out. So it could be locked up. Who knows? Again, it hasn't run for 10 years. But let's just go around, and the fan is trying to run. It is picking up speed. It's just kind of taking its time. The coils don't feel like anything. So, I mean, that is one thing that can happen, you know? As vintage as this is, sometimes it's worse if it doesn't run for a long time than when it does run for a lot. So, oh, I just heard the compressor turn on. Alright, the compressor is running, but the fan is still trying to pick up speed. So, maybe it's not so bad. I can feel a little bit of warmth. It was trying to turn, I don't know if you could hear it click, but it was trying to turn on here and there. Feeling it, it feels, it's getting a little warm on top. The fan's picking up more speed. So it's possible that it just hasn't run in a long time, and it just needed to catch itself. Oh, there goes the fan, now it's going. Oh, look at that. It actually does run. I guess my earlier commentary does still stand, guys. You know, if it doesn't run for a long time, it could cause problems. But I can feel the oh, the condenser's getting not the condenser, the evaporator's getting cold already. That's good. I can and actually I can feel some water on it already. Huh, look at that. And see if we're getting any water down here.
Getting some ice over here.
Yeah, Jay's pointing out that we're getting some ice. So. Not sure if that's because it's outside or if...
It's actually perfectly normal.
It is normal, okay.
As far as I know, it actually will ice up, and in fact the coils here will actually ice over for up to 10 or 15 minutes before it will defrost itself and actually work. My dad has one similar to this that doesn't have the air freshener thing on the front, and he's been running that since he bought it new in figure 1984 or so.
That's great.
So that being the case, yeah, it is running. I was a little amazed it didn't start initially, but this is definitely sweating now. You can feel.
Yeah, it's definitely getting moist.
You can feel the wetness indeed.
And it's not ice. It's definitely water. Well,
yeah, it's water up here. It'll ice here for a little bit, and on the coils you can see actually here, right here. See if I do that.
Yeah, it kind of shows it.
It will. It's not low on refrigerant. This is actually I don't want to say part of the design, but it was how my dad's always worked. So it is normal, I guess you could say.
That's pretty good. So I guess I could say this, guys. If this were a modern unit, I don't think it would have made it this far. It wouldn't have tried to keep going and try to pick itself up like this one apparently has. And like I said, it'll probably just... oh, that's another thing I forgot to say. This has all mechanical parts. All mechanical. None of these little circuit boards with capacitors that blow up or something like that. It's all pure design. Yeah, there's a little bit of heat on the fan, so I think it's doing its job. In fact, I don't recommend that you do this, but I'll just carefully touch these coils to see if they're... Oh, they are warm. They're definitely warm. So, you know what? I don't think this makes that much heat. And this is not frozen at all. This is all just water. It's not ice. I'm surprised. This really does not make that much heat. I think the one we used to have made more heat than this. And I mean, wow, it just I really am amazed by this. So okay, then not sure where else we will go from here, but we'll see what happens next. I'm just amazed that it does run. It really does run. Okay, so what I've just done here is, if you get on here, you can see that the light has lit up because I tricked it into thinking that the pan is full by pushing down on it. Maybe you can see my hand on there. So I'm going to let go of it, and the compressor should not restart, but the fan should. Let's see what happens. Look at that. You can see the fan is still struggling to speed up a little bit, but there it goes. And it just picked up full speed. So now the compressor has to equalize pressure, and once it does, let's see if it restarts again. Hopefully it will. This will be a test of that, because again, the compressor hasn't run for so many years, so we'll have to see what happens. It's just running along. I don't know how long it usually takes. It's been a long time since I had a dehumidifier like this. Up, there it goes. Started right up. So there you go, guys. It's running. Like I'm absolutely amazed that it's running. So what we're probably going to do next is we're probably going to put we're going to put the cabinet back on just so the airflow gets directed more correctly like it should, and we'll see how the coils act when that happens. So we shall see you from there. Alright guys, so here we go. You can see we have the cabinet put all back on. Good old wood grain. You don't see that today. Got the evaporator coils again. We got the pan in place, and we got some sirens in the background. That's always nice. So what we did was we cleaned it out a little bit. Cleaned the top of the compressor. Got some compressed air inside here. We oiled the fan motor. Yes, you can actually oil fan motors on these old units. Isn't that great? Give the fan a little spin by hand. Maybe you can see it. Definitely spins down a little bit slower than it did, so it definitely means it's doing well. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a run up, and let's see how it sounds. So go to the humidistat here again, and here we go. Now how about that, huh? That compressor started right up that time. Fan revved up nicely. Compressor's pressure's equalizing a little bit, if that's the correct word to use. Let's go over to the front or the back. I know there's debate about that. Pan's in place. And if I put my hands on the coils here, they're already cool. I can already feel a little bit of water condensing on it. And just, again, look at those coils. No rust whatsoever on them. That just really shows your quality from back then. There's you probably can't see it, but there's a couple of drips of water in the pan, actually. So it's doing its job. Definitely doing its job. And like I said, aside from the humidistat knob missing, this thing works exactly as it should. This line right here is pretty hot, so that's good. That means it's working properly. This is a lot colder down here, and it is. So this is a reciprocating compressor. So I mean, and just for as old as it is, and it hasn't run for 10 years. And after its initial struggle, bam! It just starts up every single time. And there's the fan again. So I think what we'll do now is, just for the heck of it, I'll put the covers, or the grate panels back on, you know, these things right here. And we'll just give you a shot of how that looks when it's all back together. Again, I just want you to hear these vintage sounds of this dehumidifier, man. It's so simple, you know, just the fan, the compressor, the humidistat, and like that's basically it. None of this circuit board nonsense you get nowadays. This was the way to go, man. So much better quality back then. All right, so we'll get the grate panels on and we will be back from there. All right, guys, and here's the final part of the video. All the covers are back on. You can see the little air freshener thing again. Again, I don't remember if ours had that, but you're never gonna find that on a modern unit, that's for sure. Panels back on. Let's go to the front here. Here's the front grate right here. There's the pan. And opening this is really easy. You just kind of push down on it. These two things disengage. And then when the cabinet's a little bent, but there we go. And look, there's your evaporator coils. And not too much water down there, but again, no rust, nice and cold, water on it, and it's not ice, so we know the refrigerant level is okay. And you can see the weather stripping on it that, you know, absorbs vibrations, kind of wore down over time. But again, that's unavoidable, and you can easily replace that if you had to. So that's easily repairable if need be. There's the humidity sensor right there on the coil down there. And there you have it. And one other thing I would like to say, guys, is this dehumidifier is incredibly quiet. I mean, I can barely hear this thing when it runs. It's like absolutely amazing, just like how good they were in that regard. I mean, the one that modern one that my brother has is just so loud, and it really makes a lot of heat. Again, this takes R22 refrigerant, and it doesn't make that much heat back here at all. I'm really amazed. I honestly can't remember if the one we had made any more heat or not, but the heat level on this thing is not that high at all, and it works amazingly well. And after 10 years, it just started going again, and now it works like as if it was just made. Love it. So, where this dehumidifier will eventually end up, who knows? But I mean, damn, this thing is just amazing how it just keeps working on even after all that time. All right, guys, and there you have it. There's your awesome vintage dehumidifier. I hope you enjoyed this video like I did, and there you have it. So catch you later, and this time, thanks for watching.